Sponsored by Brilliant. So there are rumors going around that the iPhone 12 is not only going to be a little late this year, but might be a little lean this year as well. Namely, that Apple is no longer going to include the EarPods in the box or the AC adapter. Those rumors started with Guomingji back in May, when he said that the EarPods are going to be DOA. And then just this week, Barclays added the same thing about the EarPods being deleted, but that also Apple was going to remove the AC adapter, the 5-watt charger that we've all complained about on the base level iPhone for so long, and the 18-watt charger that we barely learned to love on the Pro models. Guomingji came back to say both of those things, but that also Apple would be making a new 20-watt charger available, but that we'd have to buy it separately. It would no longer be included in the box. When John Prosser was asked about this on Twitter, he said he hadn't heard anything about it. But assuming it's true for a minute, what does it mean? So we humans, people, have an almost visceral reaction when it comes to people taking our stuff. It's like, no. Hell no, it's intolerable, it's unacceptable. It's like when Apple took away the 3.5mm headphone jack. For some people, when they took away the home button. For others, when they took away the 3.5mm adapter that they gave us when they took away the headphone jack. It's like we skip right over denial, the first stage of grief, and go straight into anger. But then we quickly progress to bargaining, and we start thinking, well, if you're going to take this away, then what are you going to give us? And for some people, that means when they hear Apple's no longer going to be including the EarPods or the AC adapter, that they're going to drop the price of the iPhone to make it cheaper, to make it more accessible to them. And when they think that, they typically think in terms of the retail prices. So for example, we currently pay $30 for the EarPods, $20 for that miserable little 5-watt charger, and $30 for the 18-watt charger that Apple introduced last year with the iPhone Pro. But the thing is, Apple doesn't pay retail for any of that. They don't even pay wholesale. They manufacture them, which means they pay for that manufacturing and the parts and the assembly and the R&D, but all of that has been scaled up and paid down for years now. So Apple pays, maybe a few bucks bill of goods. And I don't think anybody cares if the iPhone costs like $692 instead of $700. Apple, because it would just look hella ugly, and us, because we would still have to pay that full retail price to buy our own EarPods or our own AC adapters anyway. But this could still be a price reduction, kinda, sorta. See, Apple is also widely expected to go to 5G on the iPhone 12 as well, to sub 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or whatever that standard ends up being on the base model, and to millimeter wave on the Pro models. Now, when Android phone vendors have done that, they've typically raised prices by about $100. When Samsung did that with the Galaxy S20 earlier this year, they did what many of us thought would be impossible. They made iPhone prices look low by comparison. The reason for the price hike is that Qualcomm just charges a lot for 5G technologies. For Android vendors, the modem included in the SoC, the system on the chip. Apple makes their own SoC, but they're still going to need those Qualcomm modems. And rumor has it they may even go to next generation Qualcomm modems immediately at launch this fall. Apple, by contrast, is rumored to be keeping prices for the Pro models exactly the same this year and splitting costs on the base models, $50 cheaper for the smaller one and $50 more expensive for the same sized one. And you can kind of picture Phil Schiller on stage with a slide up on screen saying exactly that. Where other companies have used 5G as an excuse to raise prices, Apple is thrilled to announce that the new 5G iPhones are going to cost you exactly the same. By keeping prices the same, Apple would just be eating those costs. By ditching the EarPods and the adapter, they would be eating slightly less costs. But I don't know if most people would notice that or even care. We have this almost instinctual gut animal reaction to being nickel and dimed, like when we go to the same size bag of chips and there's just less chips in it every year. So if Apple did ditch the EarPods and the AC adapter, but gave us 5G for quote unquote free, would that then be acceptable to you? Or would it still be a no? Hard no. Another theory being bandied about is that Apple is doing this for the environment as part of combating e-waste. The theory is that Apple has been putting these components, these headphones and these charging adapters into iPhones and into iPods before them for decades now, and that most of us have them already. And since they come, quote unquote, for free in the box, we're kind of careless and callous about disposing them. We just throw them out and they just accumulate. Now, North America is nowhere nearly as proactive about this stuff as the EU is. And the EU has already been pushing for standardization when it comes to power adapters, for everyone to basically make the same power adapter. And it's unclear based on the reports or just based on the reporting whether they mean the actual plug in the wall, or they also mean the cables that plug into those plugs in the wall. And Apple's already been moving towards USB-C already on the iPads and most recently on the Pro-level iPhones. So it's not hard to imagine Phil Schiller or Lisa Jackson coming up on stage with exactly that set of slides and saying this is how many headphones and this is how many chargers Apple has shipped since the advent of the iPod and with the explosive growth of the iPhone. And this is how many people upgrading their iPhone or switching to the iPhone already have chargers and don't necessarily need new ones. And this is how much e-waste all of that is generating. And in the same way, they show that slide for every announcement, for every device, the environmental report card saying that as part of their ongoing efforts to be more environmentally responsible, they're no longer going to include the EarPods or the charger in the box. So would it matter to you if Apple framed it that way as a form of environmental responsibility? Or would it depend on how they handled it, whether they then charged you full retail price for a new pair of EarPods or a new charger when you bought a new iPhone, or if they gave you some kind of discount at purchase, or maybe even the ability to send away for a freebie? Let me know about that in the comments as well. So the last of the theories is, of course, that Apple is getting rid of the Lightning EarPods and the Lightning power adapter because Apple is getting rid of the Lightning port. And this is a rumor that's been around for a long time as well, not just with Apple, but in the industry in general, but specifically with Apple because they have shown an absolute ruthless savagery in getting rid of any hole in any device, from the floppy drive to the headphone jack most recently. Now, I've just done a whole video on that, so seriously, hit the subscribe button and bell. But I think it's a little bit too early to go fully portless on the iPhone still. I think Apple has been investing heavily in the wireless technologies that'll make it possible. And I think the way the new Apple Silicon Macs handle Restore with a concealed full Restore partition right on the device gives some hints as to how they could overcome the last of the hurdles in making the iPhone truly portless. But that seems to me like a year or two away still, and not something that we'll see with the iPhone 12 this year. Personally, I think the environmental reasons are great, but I think that if Apple is taking something away, they have to give us something as well, and 5G is not completely it. But the ability to get those discounted versions of headphones and of chargers if we need it could, taken together, be totally acceptable. But we're all going to have to do the math on that. And luckily, you know it, Brilliant's got a complete new math course library to help. It lets you, me, Apple, anyone, brush up on fundamentals, probability, algebra, calculus, trigonometry, differential equations, and geometry. All the maths for school, for work, for fun. Some people do it for fun. Brilliant is a problem-solving based website and app with a hands-on approach with over 60 interactive courses in math, in science, and in computer science. Courses that can help you achieve your goals in STEM, starting with one small commitment to learning and building up to long-term challenge and growth. Through storytelling, code writing, interactive challenges, and problems to solve, Brilliant puzzles you, surprises you, and expands your understanding of the modern world. Go to brilliant.org/Ritchie and sign up for free. And the first 200 of you can also level up with 20% off the annual premium subscription. Thanks, Brilliant. Thanks to all of you for your support. You can check out the full iPhone 12 playlist right there, and see you next video.